Suspiria is directed by Luca Guadagnino, and this, of course, is the remake of the 1977 film of the same name, directed by Dario Argento. This film once again follows a young woman who, after being accepted into a prestigious German dance academy, she becomes entrapped in a very dark and twisted conspiracy against her. The original Suspiria is one of the most influential European horror films of all time, and it's also one of the most visually striking. Every single frame of that film is dripping with color. And after directing the excellent Call Me By Your Name, the last movie that I would expect Guadagnino to follow that up with would be this film, but yet here we are. When it comes to remaking a film, especially so with movies that are as adored as something like Suspiria, I think it is not just important, but it is crucial for the filmmakers to offer something new. Otherwise, I just don't see the point. And this film certainly does that. There are very few elements that this film has in common with the original. And not just plot-wise either, this film visually looks like a completely different movie, which I actually think is a very strong choice. And I think for the most part, a lot of the changes that they made with this film, as far as the narrative is concerned, I was not opposed to. This film does make some very unique decisions, and I do admire the ambition from Guadagnino. Even though this is a remake, it is unlike a lot of movies that you will see this year. And at over 2.5 hours long, which is an hour longer than the original, this movie does add a significant amount of elements that were not present in the original Suspiria. For myself, although I was not able to capture the totality of the film on my first viewing, I don't believe I was terribly confused. I still believe I was able to capture a lot of what this film was trying to say, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for a movie to ask its audience to see the film multiple times to fully understand what is happening and to dig a bit deeper. But unfortunately, I don't think that this movie is going to get too many more viewings for myself. I want to start with what I liked about this film, because I do believe there are a lot of very strong elements to Suspiria. For one, I think this very hypnotic atmosphere that the movie is able to establish is very well done. One scene specifically that I thought was excellent, involving a dance, definitely one of the highlights of the film. In addition to that, Suspiria features some pretty gruesome body horror, again in another separate dance scene, probably one of the more effective moments in the film. However, I think my favorite element of Suspiria is the dynamic between the characters of Susie and Madame Blanc. Nearly every scene involving these two characters is riveting and completely fascinating. They both have this incredible connection throughout the film, and their interaction kept me continually guessing and wondering where exactly each character was headed. This is also by far the strongest outing that we've seen from Dakota Johnson, who I was also very impressed with her dancing in this film, which she supposedly studied for over 2 years. I also love Tilda Swinton in this role. I thought she completely embodied this character. I thought she was tremendous from start to finish. Now, I think it's important to note that I love Tilda Swinton in this role, and I think that's an important distinction because she actually has multiple roles throughout this film, one of which being this elderly doctor. With this character, I thought the special effect makeup on display was magnificent, probably some of the best old age makeup that I've ever seen. Tilda Swinton as well masters the mannerisms of this character, the way that she walks, sits, and even eats. It's pretty remarkable, actually. However, whenever this character is involved with really any dialogue, I found it to be pretty distracting because it is very noticeable that Tilda Swinton is in there under all that makeup. And as I was watching it, I just kept asking myself, why? Why did they go to such great lengths to achieve this? Is it possibly just because they could? Which, sure, I guess, but I think with this element being as distracting as it is, I think hiring an old man would have been much easier and would have benefited the story greatly. This film is difficult to compare to the original Suspiria, considering how different they really are. However, when I watched that film, I immediately understand why that movie is so influential and why it is so controversial as well. And while watching this movie, I got the sense that they were trying to reach the level that the original was able to capture, and I think they were really doing this in an effort to disturb audiences and really unsettle them, but for myself, I don't think that they were able to accomplish this. There are some moments in this film that I do think are attempting to traumatize some viewers, but I just don't think that they quite got there. The original Suspiria has a lot of disturbing moments, and I do think this film tries to attempt to replicate that, but it is very obvious that they are trying to do so. In fact, in them trying to accomplish that, it just comes off that they are trying perhaps maybe a bit too hard. And I do think that there are a couple of contributing factors to this movie falling just a bit short of it being as disturbing as it is intending to be, one of which being that I don't feel that this film is able to establish an unsettling and unnerving tone. In the original Suspiria, I think there is a great deal of intrigue that is established in that movie. While watching that film, I feel invested in learning what exactly was happening at this academy. But in this film, I think they ruin any chance that you have at establishing said intrigue. And that's largely due to the fact that within the first 20 minutes of this movie, a character just outright says exactly what is happening at this school. And for anyone who hasn't seen the original or doesn't know what this movie is about, I feel that their experience is pretty tainted. I really don't know why they made this decision. I honestly have no clue. Even though I'm not a massive fan of the original Suspiria, I was greatly looking forward to this movie, probably more so than a lot of films coming out this year, and to be honest, I was pretty disappointed by it. Although I really do admire this movie's ambition, the lack of atmosphere and overconfidence in how disturbing this film really is renders Suspiria to be a pretty flat and underwhelming experience. If you are interested in seeing this film, I would encourage you to perhaps watch the original before you do go see this movie, and if you are interested, maybe give it a watch. I have the feeling that this is the type of movie that you're either going to love or either going to hate, but for myself personally, I'm somewhere in the middle. So did you guys see Suspiria? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you liked today's video. And if you did, you can click on the link down below and subscribe to my channel to see more movie reviews and movie related things. And guys, thank you so much for watching and see you next time.